Hello, hello. Welcome to Fireside Chat with Kimberly. Thank you so much for being here with me tonight. I'm so sorry I missed last week. If you were expecting the show, because I usually am here every week, I had an incredible migraine and I could not focus or function. So I apologize, but I'm back and I'm better than ever. Um, isn't it something how I had COVID, right? Last in March, did my show right through that. Migraine took me down. Anyway, that doesn't matter. I'm really glad to be here with you tonight. And by the way, anyone who's watching on replay, please comment and let us know that you're watching. Any questions, all that cool stuff. Thank you to VegKey, the sponsor for this week's talks. Prize packs for this month's contests have been graciously donated by Hodo Foods, Follow Your Heart, Cinnaholic, Revolution Gelato, Terra Seed, Fabulous, Rebel Cheese, and VegKey. So as always, I invite my viewers to enter the monthly contest, heading over to virtualvegfest.com, click on the contest tab, enter your information, and you're entered to win an amazing prize from one of those incredible sponsors. Hey, thank you, Susan. I'm so glad to be back. Thank you for being here. Hey, Diane, thanks for being here. Glad to see you as always. So tonight I wanted to talk about some cool new herbs and veggies I've been introduced to over the last couple of weeks. Uh, I'm really lucky to live near a farm that is run by a plant-based doctor, and their whole focus is bringing the nutritive soil back and growing lots of amazing, super nutrient dense veggies. And they also, nothing, it's an organic farm and nothing has been treated with pesticides. So they've started venturing out and foraging from their own land. And that's been pretty cool to see what they come back with. They have had mushrooms before last year for sure. They were foraging some mushrooms. But I'm still working on loving mushrooms, so I don't typically pick those up. But I'm getting there. I really am trying to find my way to love the mushroom. Uh, but this year, the first week that I was there, they had this veggie called ramps. Have you guys heard of ramps? I had not. They're a member of the allium family, so they're part of the onion family. And they're these gorgeous uh, green leaves, and their stems are a little red, and they've got a little bulb at the bottom, like the way a scallion does. And they are the leaves are almost like smooth and silky, and they smell kind of garlicky, and the taste is kind of like a scallion, that bright oniony flavor. I love them. I'm so happy to have discovered these, and they forage them from their land. You can use them as you would any onion, so you can chop them up and saute them, put them um, in all kinds of dishes wherever you might use a scallion or an onion, and even like a tofu, some ramps, like chopped up ramps over that. You can also eat them raw in a salad. I've kind of tried them all of those ways as far as um, oh, that's awesome, Susan. They are popular in Western North Carolina. They grow wild here. Yeah, I guess they grow wild here in New Jersey too. Who knew? Not me. I mean, you did, but but I really have been enjoying them. And one of the farmers, when I told her I'd never had ramps before, she's like, "When you come back next week, tell me, what you made with them and did you like them?" So we had a talk, and she's very excited that I'm super into ramps now. It's just so fun to add something new, right? This past weekend, and feel free, put in comments if you know about these things I'm talking about, and just like Susan did, or if you've got one, uh, kind of like a rare or a veggie you think, or an herb you think maybe most of us haven't seen or heard of before. Just drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear more about it. So this weekend, uh, it's funny, the farm sends out an email uh, like the Thursday before. So the farm days right now are just Saturdays. And they sent out an email, and the top of it said Lovage. And I knew this word because I've read Harry Potter and because I will admit I played the Harry Potter, game that's like Pokemon. Um, I had played that for a little while. They use lovage in potions in Harry Potter. So, like, I had no idea lovage was, like, a real plant. I thought it was a Harry Potter potion ingredient, but nope, it's not. It is, they have they grow super tall. They're very plentiful. Just like Susan said about the ramps growing wild, the lovage grows wild here in New Jersey. So this is another plant that they had foraged from their land. It looks like celery. The leaves on the top looks like celery, and the stalks are long and they're circular, and they're actually hollow in the middle. So they're not quite like celery, and they're actually, I learned, a member of the parsley family. So even though they taste and smell like celery, like a mild celery, they are actually a member of the parsley family. And when you eat the leaves, that's kind of what it tastes like. Very celery like with a hint of parsley. You can use them just like you would celery in stocks, in soups, in salads. The farmer recommended to me that the stalks you use them in the stock in the soup, and then pardon me, and then you take the leaves and you put them into a salad. And I actually wrote a blog about lovage today, and while I was while I was writing about it, I got so inspired that I have some potatoes left over from the weekend, and I am going to roast the leftover potatoes, and I'm going to, kind of coat them, toss them in a like a Dijon dressing. I haven't really come up with the full thing yet. And then I'm going to chop the leaves from the lovage, and I'm going to sprinkle that on the potatoes, like in place of parsley. And I just think it'll be so fun. And I was so excited. I'm like writing this blog, and I'm like, oh, I can't wait to make this recipe and then like write about it. So there'll be a potato lovage recipe coming in the blog sometime soon. So keep an eye out for that. Uh, I'm loving how these new herbs and vegetables are so inspiring. Like, tell me, is there like a vegetable or something that like inspires you, or you found like the first time you discovered it, you like did a zillion things with a vegetable that you just discovered. It's so fun. And then the third vegetable that that I was talking to the farmer about this weekend is called Japanese knotweed. And apparently it's an invasive species. I actually found an article that called it, I wrote it down, I didn't want to get it wrong. Japanese knotweed, edible, medicinal, invasive. So it just like the lovage, it grows wild here in New Jersey. It also is wild in New York. Probably, honestly, it's probably up and down like the eastern seaboard. This, oh, Rick, that's so cool. I'm glad you enjoyed it. um, so the Japanese knotweed has those same hollow stalks like the lovage does. They're really pretty, like red, speckled red, and the leaves are really kind of, they come to a point, and there's little flowers, and it's a really pretty plant to look at. I mean, I guess it's a weed if it's so invasive, but anyway, um, but it grows everywhere. And I was reading it, it's so invasive that if you like pull one out by the root and like, tear it apart, the pieces that are without the root will still be able to root themselves in the dirt if you leave them there. Whoa. So what that means certainly is that you are not at risk at over harvesting this, because it seems to be taking over everywhere it ends up. When I was talking to the farmer, she said that Japanese knotweed is very juicy and kind of citrusy. She wasn't, she hadn't really experimented too much in, what to do with it. But I was reading that it kind of can taste like a combination of, and this is so strange, asparagus and rhubarb. And as I was researching the Japanese knotweed, it almost, even though it has a citrusy flavor, you can use it in both savory and sweet dishes. So you can put it into a pie the same way you can put it into a stir fry. And it kind of like adapts or like takes on more of the flavor and is highlighted in kind of a different way. So I guess maybe if it were a savory thing, it might come out more citrusy the way ginger is kind of citrusy. And maybe if in a pie, it comes out maybe more like a lemony, like sweetness instead of like the way a ginger is citrusy. So that was cool, but also you can eat the shoots part of it, and I think you can eat the leaves too. The roots have been used as medicine for years, decades, hundreds of years, and it contains, wrote this down too, don't want to get these words wrong. Um, they have a high concentration of res resveratrol, which is the same antioxidant that's found in like red grape skin and red wine. So it is super, super antioxidant filled. So that's always a good thing, right? We want to have our antioxidants for sure. And and you can turn it into tinctures and things like that. It's so neat. Uh There was one more thing, and the lovage too, by the way. Lovage has been around since, like, ancient times, and it was used for, what was it used for? It was used for, I got a note in a different a different place. So it can be used as a medicinal or herbal remedy for digestion, also reducing flatulence. So if you're new to beans, maybe you also want to pair it with some lovage, as well as a blood purifier, and you can turn it into a skin conditioner. So, wow, these invasive herbs and plants are super versatile. You can do so many things with them. And they grow really tall, and so if you end up with like long ones, you've got many different uses for them. One comment on foraging. I have not foraged for anything. The foraged foods I've spoken to you about have been foraged. How many times can I use that word in the next couple of minutes? By farmers who know what they're doing, and they know the location where they're foraging from, and they know that the plants have not been treated. So it's very important that should you decide to take on a little forage adventure, especially if you're in one of the states like Susan and I, where you know that these things grow kind of wild and free. One, you want to make sure that wherever you're going allows you to forage. For example, here in New Jersey, there are plenty of plants like this growing in all of our state parks, but you cannot forage in a state park. You are at risk of being given a fine if they catch you. And also, so you want to make sure that you can do it. These free herbs and vegetables that you're foraging could be very pricey by the time you pay whatever fine you might be slapped with. And even more important than that is that you want to make sure that wherever you are foraging from, the plants have not been treated with pesticides and chemicals, because obviously if you're consuming those plants, that means you are consuming those pesticides and chemicals. You want to make sure that the food that you are eating is safe. So do your research before you set out on a little foraging adventure. But if you do happen to go out and forage, please let me know. I would love to hear about your adventures, see what you foraged, send me pictures. For sure, I'd love to hear about it. I don't know that I'm at the point where I'm going to get out there and forage, especially because I'm so spoiled and the farmers nearby are doing it, so I don't really have to. But maybe if I do, we can talk about it then. But for sure, if you do, let me know. So cool. I want to hear all your stories. Thank you, of course, as always, for being here with me. I am always honored, so honored that you spend a little bit of your Monday evening with me. Um, Oh, Susan, you've got another thing. Wild ginseng out there in the mountains. That's cool. I love it. So fun to hear about all the stuff that's growing wild that can be consumed if, like I said, it's in a safe place for you to forage and not treated with chemicals. So thank you so much for being here. I don't know what I'm talking about next week, but I will be here. And then also next Monday evening, I'm doing my monthly healing circle. So if you're interested in that, visit my website. You can sign up right there. And I'd love to see you. It's always a good time. And we do a lot of self discovery and meditation and some Reiki as well. So if you're into that stuff, join me. Check it out on next Monday, and you can just go to my website, which I will just drop here for you, and you can sign up right here. So awesome. I will see you next week. Thank you all so much for being here. Um, thank you. Thank you, Rick. Thank you so much. And I will see you next week. Bye.